Stream is starting. And it's live. Hello, my friends. My name is Paul, and welcome to A Common Touch of Fantasy. This is my May wrap-up, and we are live. I am doing this a little bit different. I hope you guys will enjoy this, and we'll see what happens. I didn't read a whole lot of books last month. I took kind of a light reading month because I wanted to watch more television, wanted to do a few other things as well, spend my time on other things as well. But what I read was pretty good, and I was satisfied with most of the things that I've read. The one book I read last month is The Bone Hunters by Steven Erikson. I really enjoyed this book. I give it a 4 out of 5. I think that it's one of the stronger Malazan books. I think a lot of the Malazan books are really good. I think this one here people really like this one a lot. Most people that have read this one put it up there as one of their favorites because a lot of the plot lines from the first from the first 5 books come together with this one. So we have a lot of characters in this one from book 4, House of Chains, and what happened at the end of that. And we have even characters from Midnight Tides coming into play with characters from House of Chains. And with the Bone Hunters, we have just a lot of people coming into play and just causing a ruckus. I love this book. I give it a 4. My biggest issue, though, is that Erikson likes to meddle. He likes to manipulate a little bit too much in this book. A lot of times when Erikson doesn't give us information, it makes sense within the story, it makes sense within the dialogue, within the scene that we're actually in. However, with this book, it seems like Erikson is jumping into the story himself and creating instances where we don't get the information, even though the characters that are talking are right on the page, right in front of us. So, for example, 2 characters are talking, and they basically don't communicate properly for us to find out what's going on. Erikson hides the information from us on purpose, and I don't really care for that. However, Yucatan, Yghatan, one of the best scenes in this series. Fantastic, nail-biting, amazing. That is how you write a scene. A very long scene, but it was fantastic. And then the Malas City, the scene at the end, where a lot of things converge. Oh, so fantastic. A big part of this book is about the gods and how the gods are looked at. Are the gods doing what they want? Are they manipulating the mortals, or are the mortals manipulating the gods? And there is a lot of philosophy in this book, and I really liked this book quite a bit. Like I said, it wasn't perfect. I gave it a 4 just because of Erikson playing with it a little bit too much. It has a 4.4 rating on Goodreads, which is quite high, and 18,000 ratings with a 4.4 is really good. This was first published in 2006. Caitlin from Kitty G really liked it. She gave it a 4.5. And Michael, been by a Radioactive Book, gave it a 5. It's one of his favorite Malazan books, and he loves Malazan. And a few other people really loved it. Everyone that I follow from like our fantasy, where Malazan is basically their Lord and Savior, gave it 5s and 4s. A lot of people just really like this book, and I'm so glad that I've stayed with this series because this was an excellent addition to the story, and I think it's just worth reading. I mean, it is a huge commitment to read these books. It really is, but I enjoy it. I enjoy taking an entire month reading this book, and I loved it. So yeah. Also on audiobook, I read The Demon Awakens. Let me go ahead and pull that up on Goodreads, The Demon Awakens by R.A. Salvatore. I read this on graphic audio, which has like sounds and music and fighting and a full cast. And it was very entertaining. It's very classical, traditional fantasy. Very similar to R.A. Salvatore's work with his Dritz series. And I think this was a lot better as a graphic audio book than it would be as a normal book. So basically, there's this demon that awakens. He's the big bad. And we have a small group of individuals that go to try to kill him. But the majority of this book is actually all these individuals by themselves leading up to that point. And that's the best part of this book. We have a ranger that is training with the elves. He's a human ranger and training with the elves to, protect the forest, protect everything. His little town was destroyed, and he was one of the few people surviving, and he becomes this ranger. There's this monk that is at this monastery, and he uses these gems to create magic. And then there's this woman that was friends with the ranger when he was a little boy. She forgot everything that happened to her town, and now she's living in a city as a waitress, and she can't remember anything. Eventually these characters meet up, and it's just like a very traditional fantasy. If you guys like that sort of thing, you'd probably like this. And I would put it on par with some of his Dritz books, not his Dark Elf trilogy, which I think is head and shoulders above the other stuff that he's done. But I would put it on par to his Icewind Dale trilogy. It was good. I'm continuing with it. I gave it a 3. Most people that I am friends with gave it a 3 as well, or 2. Probably like an average of a 3 rating. So check this out. If this is something that interests you, this was first published in 1996, so it's very 90s fantasy. As far as what else I've read a lot of graphic novels, at least a lot for me during the month. The first one being Descender, Volume 2. I loved Volume 1. I found it fantastic. What I love about Descender, number one, is the art. The art is fantastic. I mean, check this out. The art is just awesome. But what makes this special, I figured this out while reading it recently, is that the characterization, the character design, in more particular, the character design is so well done. All the characters have a life of their own, has a very unique look, has a very unique personality, and I think that is what makes this series so good. This series is basically about robots being hunted down, turned into scrap because really large robots destroyed a bunch of the planets, and now robots are considered the enemy, but most robots had no clue why that happened. And so we follow a young boy, and he is connected somewhat with the large robots that destroyed the planets. And so people are trying to get him and find out what he knows. Descender 2, Volume 2, has a 4.16 rating, 339 ratings reported in. I give it a 5. I loved it. I thought the presentation on these are just amazing. Caitlin gave it a 4.5. It's one of her favorite ongoing sci-fi series. A lot of the other people that have reviewed this say that it's not quite on the level as Volume 1. I think it is, but the majority of the people think that it's a little bit less quality than Volume 1. But when something is so well liked as Volume 1 is less quality, it's still really good. Bottom line. Then I read X-Men Volume 3, Torn. This is the Joss Whedon, John Cassaday X-Men run. This was back in 2008. I enjoyed this. The third installment, there's a lot of like psychic people in this series, and so you don't really know what's real and what's not real. And there's a lot of like in the mind type stuff with this third volume, and it got a little bit convoluted here and there. The relationship between Emma Frost and Cyclops, I honestly don't understand it that well, because a lot of the backstory is from other X-Men comics, and I should have really maybe started somewhere else because of that. But everything else is fantastic. What Whedon does well, he connects these characters and their dialogue and the way they discuss issues is just fantastic. It's very real to life, and the characters feel so much like the characters that have been X-Men for so long, and he just does a great job of characterizing all these X-Men. And the art is out of this world. Cassaday just does an amazing job art with this run. I give it a 3. The plot just didn't have that much clarity. Most people like it, give it around a 4. So yeah, it was good. It wasn't my favorite of the Whedon run, but I still liked it. I probably would say it's like in the middle for me. So yeah. Then I read Batman: The Killing Joke by Alan Moore, illustrated by Brian Boland. This was from 1988, and I like this a lot. It is dark, it is twisted, it is short, 48 pages, but back in 1988, this really was something. It really changed the way people saw graphic novels and DC and Batman, and it was it was crazy. The plot is very simplistic, Joker doing Joker things, but his dialogue about insanity and madness, and when things happen where you just break and you become this insane person, was very interesting. It was really out there, but it was so interesting to me, and I really enjoyed it. Then we have The Astonishing X-Men Volume 4. This was Unstoppable. This was a very large deluxe edition. 200 pages of X-Men goodness. Without a doubt, the best of the run of Joss Whedon and John Cassaday. 4.35, 6,651 ratings. I give it a 4. I thought this was really good. The X-Men are off-world now. They're at this place called the Break World, where one of those X-Men is prophesied to destroy this world, but the Break World is going to try to destroy Earth before they can destroy them. And what's great about this is the X-Men pair up and go off and do like certain missions. And so we have this awesome dynamic of them talking about the baggage between the two people they're with while trying to like save the world. So we have Cyclops and Emma Frost discussing their relationship while trying to save the world. We have Kitty Pryde and Colossus discussing their relationship while trying to save the entire Earth. And Beast does a lot of stuff in this one. It's just an amazing end to this run. I liked it. As far as the entire run, I don't know if I'm going to actually buy these. I got these off in the library. I don't think I'm going to actually buy these. I think that they were good from a library point of view, but I don't think it was good enough to purchase. But yeah, this is pretty good. A lot of people really liked the ending of this, and the large edition really helped. And then the last thing I read was Batman Year One by Frank Miller and David Mazzucchelli. And this was from 1987, and this was your restart of Batman from 1987, where they made Batman gritty, where they made Gotham City super dark, where they made it more realistic. Batman getting shot, things like that, and it's good. Gotham City is imagined so well. The art is fantastic. James Gordon, amazing character. However, most of the story revolves around James Gordon and not really Bruce Wayne and Batman. Okay, whatever. I give it a 3. I like my Batman fighting over the top villains. I like my Batman fighting the Joker. I like my Batman fighting the Penguin, the Riddler. Batman fighting everyday common street thugs and criminals, not so much. Okay, Catwoman, Selena Kyle in this was terrible. Her characterization was so bad, and Frank Miller just doesn't even really explain anything about her and why she's even in this. Like, I don't even know why she was in this. A person who I respect their opinion on comic books and graphic novels, Meepolis, she is a graphic novel booktuber, and she said it exactly. She gave it a 2, and she says, a work of art dedicated to the male ego. We aren't subjected to Miller's most potent thoughts on those lesser humans known as women and black people until halfway through the book. And she is right. I don't know what was going on with the way the criminals were African American and the way they acted and stuff. It wasn't that great. And Selena Kyle, Catwoman, was terrible. I give it a 3 still. I thought that it was likable, but it could be a lot better. This has a 4.2 rating with 132,000 ratings. So a lot of people like this. I think they like this because it's really edgy for the time. It's Frank Miller. Frank Miller has a lot of fanboys. And yeah, so whatever. So those are the things that I've read during the month of May. I thought it was a good month. Hopefully in June I can read a little bit more. I want to read Reaper's Gale, which is book number 7 in the series. I'm about 200 pages in. I am doing videos on this. Every 2 chapters I'm making a small video about what happened and what I thought about it. And then I want to read Toll of the Hounds as well. If you would like to join me in any of these reads, let me know. You can reply in those videos where I talk about what I read in those books. And it could be kind of like a buddy read. And also, I'm doing these graphic minutes where I'm showing what graphic novel I'm currently reading and showing the art from it that I really like. So check those things out. Thank you for watching. I hope you guys have a great day today. I hope whatever you read in June is fantastic. And I hope whatever you read back in May was awesome as well. Let me know what your favorite book was from May and what you're most looking forward to reading in June. Maybe what you're looking forward to reading in June is something I might pick up in July. Who knows? Thanks for watching, guys. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And have a great day.